Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap. It's all brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Go see Jeff Dillon and his fine crew. They'll treat you like family, as the slogan says, and get you all your needs as far as HVAC is concerned. And they are affordable, they are friendly, and they are effective. And effective we will try to be here as we talk about a varied weekend in sports. And, of course, we get some nice weather finally, and we have a little warm day yesterday. Get out and hit some golf balls for the first time. Haven't played golf yet. Haven't played golf since last Thanksgiving. So I'm not going to hit the course on Tuesday with some friends and associates, including Jeff Dillon for that matter, without at least practicing a little bit. And today we get nice warm weather. But, of course, in the spring it's often accompanied by a hurricane, and that's what we're going to get today. But I hope you're enjoying a little bit of sunshine and good fun as we watch the March Madness ensue. We watch the Royals maneuver and get themselves ready for Thursday's opener as they play their last preseason game, exhibition game today. We've got a juggernaut in our midst. Northwest Missouri State wins another national championship, and they do it by plundering the opposition all through the Division II tournament. And lots of fun things to talk about. West Coast basketball dominating as far as the NCAA is concerned. And I'll say this, maybe it was because I didn't watch that much college basketball during the course of the season. I have really enjoyed digging in on the college basketball and the NCAA tournament this year. We'll mix in a little golf as we usually do. It's all part of our Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, and it's all presented by Dillon's Heating and Cooling.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
The bitter cold snap in February was just another intense reminder of how important it is to have a quality heating and cooling company on your side. That's why you need to know about my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Jeff Dillon and his top-quality staff provide honest, affordable, and reliable service all year long. Their number one priority is taking care of the customer and focus on being genuine, always following through and standing behind what they say and do. If you need HVAC or AC repair, it's important you get help from a team of professionals. Dillon's Heating and Cooling's team can walk you through a range of products, the advantages of heating and cooling systems, and ultimately help you find the best HVAC system for you. They're always glad to answer your questions and set up an appointment for an installation consultation. Whether you are looking to upgrade to a newer model of your current system or need one installed in a new home, give my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling a call today at 913-214-0529. That's 913-214-0529, or visit dillonsheatingandcooling.com to answer all of your questions. Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Their slogan is their goal, always treating you like family. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today. I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and it's March Madness time, and of course the new structure of it means that we'll have Elite Eight basketball tonight and tomorrow as the Sweet 16 was played out over a weekend. Kind of a interesting structure, and I think one that actually works pretty well because what it allows is the fact that the Sweet 16 games, none of them are concurrent. They're all standalone games. Now, there's some fun in being able to switch back and forth during the Sweet 16, but because it's one Sweet 16's on the weekend, and then the prime time comes for the Elite Eight, you get yourself a nice setup as far as television is concerned, and it was a lot of fun watching the basketball. And in the end, we get what we often do get at the NCAA tournament, which is that we get a mixture of lower seeds and then usually 3 or 4 number 1 seeds, 2, 3, or 4, and that's what we've got this time around. Maybe some lower seeds, maybe some more unexpected seeds, but still 3 number 1s make it as Gonzaga, Michigan, and Baylor all advance to the Elite Eight, and they do it in basically pretty impressive fashions. Let's check out Saturday's action first. Baylor was a relatively close winner over Villanova, but in the end, comfortably. Villanova led that game throughout much of it, but Baylor asserted themselves, didn't play the kind of basketball they usually do by hitting threes and scoring a lot of points, but that just shows you have to win in different ways, and after scoring almost 80 in their first 2 games, they win by just scoring barely over 60 and advance, and they'll take on an Arkansas team that barely was able to scrape past the 15-seeded team trying to make history and become the first 15 ever to make it to an Elite Eight. ORU was gallant. They have 2 great players. It was a great game. ORU had control much of the game, but Arkansas, in the end, showed some toughness themselves, and they advanced to a matchup in Baylor, an old Southwest Conference-style matchup as well. Maybe the most surprising game to me was Saturday as well, as Loyola of Chicago just couldn't throw the ball in the ocean, and Oregon State, the 12 seed, took them out. If I had to bet on maybe any team except for Gonzaga to win in the Sweet 16, it might have been Loyola. They just had played such crisp and impressive basketball coming in, but they were not really there. And even though they're trying to claw upstream the whole game and they got within 3 on a few occasions, it was really Oregon State's game as they played a variety of different defenses and were able to advance as a 12 seed, one of the 3 Pac-12 teams to make it. And along with Gonzaga, half the Elite Eight will be from the West Coast. Syracuse caused trouble to a couple of higher-seeded teams, but Houston really had the orange number and held them down to 46 points in the game and winning comfortably 62-47. This one was competitive for a while, but then Houston came through, and they played a little bit differently than they often do, but their defense has been good so far in the NCAA tournament. They have kind of been the masters of winning close matchups so far, and they will match up against Oregon State. So they have been maybe the ultimate survive and advance type of team so far in this tournament as they move on to take on the Elite Eight matchup against Oregon State. And that, of course, those 2 games will be played this evening. Out west, Gonzaga just looks like, I mentioned the juggernaut of Northwest Missouri State. Well, Gonzaga looks like the Northwest Missouri State of this tournament as they have just routed the opposition. It was no contest against Creighton, a fairly competitive game for a little while, and then Creighton missed, I think, 11 straight shots at one point in the first half. And Gonzaga just, I mentioned that I hadn't watched a slew of college basketball. I've watched a lot, but not as much as maybe usual. But when you watch Gonzaga, you're like, that's a dude. That's another dude. That Drew Timme. And that other guy looks just like him. And it just looks like they have weight, and that's not even mentioning Jalen Suggs, who's probably the best player on the team. And Gonzaga really does look unstoppable. But in this tournament, you're just not going to say anything like that, especially when they're playing a USC team that couldn't really be cooking with gas any more than any other team in this tournament, as they absolutely slaughtered Oregon in their game yesterday. And it should be an entertaining game, but you just wonder, USC is the number 6 seed for a reason, and Gonzaga has not even been challenged. They have won 26 games by double digits so far, and of course that includes the games in this tournament. They haven't lost all year long. They haven't lost for about 40 games, and I just have a feeling that maybe this one's going to get away from USC too, that Gonzaga will continue the routes, but we'll have to wait and see on Tuesday to see how that one plays out. USC, and we'll get to UCLA in a minute, are in the Elite Eight together for the first time ever, and of course that's generally on USC, which is only making their third ever appearance in the Elite Eight as they get set to take on the bullies of the tournament so far in Gonzaga. Speaking of looking good, Michigan, even though they're down a very important player, really couldn't have looked more impressive against Florida State. I think a lot of people had Florida State as potentially a sexy pick to win that game on Sunday, and Michigan just looked great. They're just fun to watch. A little tiny point guard who's controlling the show. Juwan Howard has a lot of really neat sets, and the real cool thing about that game to me and watching basketball is the fact that they would have situations where they'd run a nice play, a guy would have a path to the basket for what seemed to be a layup, and then he'd make that one additional pass that would just lead to a dunker, an absolutely unobstructed play, and Michigan broke out of a relatively close game and then crushed Florida State in the second half and pulled away to an easy win. And they'll take on a UCLA team that really looks like you can't really believe that they were an 11 seed during the course of the season. And if you think that momentum's important as far as the NCAA tournament is concerned, well, UCLA is job one as far as the fact that maybe that isn't so important, as they lost their last 4 games of the regular season and then have come into the NCAA tournament, had to play in the play-in game, win that, win again, got a little bit of a kiss in getting to play Abilene Christian, a 14 seed, but they had to play a bona fide opponent in Alabama. They had to shake off the fact that they decided not to foul at the end of the game and allowed a game-tying three-pointer, but then they completely controlled the overtime, and Mick Cronin's crew is on to the Elite Eight in a matchup against Michigan, a historical old matchup from back when UCLA used to be good. They were good for a little stretch under Ben Howland, but they seem to be back now under Mick Cronin. And all in all, it looks like a really, really interesting Elite Eight. I think the Tuesday games hold a little bit more intrigue, but I still think that Gonzaga is an absolute huge favorite to still get this thing done. But it is a different year. We've seen all kinds of crazy things, but we've seen nothing crazy as far as the matchups with the Zags so far in this tournament. Mentioned the bullies of Northwest Missouri State. Let's talk a little Division II hoops and give them the kudos that they deserve. Ben McCollum's team has now won 3 of the last 4 championships. They absolutely murdered West Texas A&M in the championship game. They beat the number 1 seed in the semifinals by a million also. They won the last 3 games of the NCAA Division II tournament by an average of 26 points. And they are the kings of Division II basketball, and you have to think that they might well have won the tournament that was canceled last year. And so Northwest Missouri State, the Bearcats, that's a great athletic program, and they are making basketball a big, big deal. And they have, remember the long stretch they had in football where they were winning all those national championships. Now they're adding on basketball to that resume, and you just wonder how long Ben McCollum will stay around as a Northwest Missouri State coach. Yeah, it's Division II, but their opponent in the final said they could beat half the teams in Division I, and who's there to argue? Although you do have to take into account the fact that you're talking about Power 5 conference schools, and then a whole a couple 250 mid-majors, and then there's Division II, but they've been so dominant at that level, it kind of makes you think and have some fun musing about it, as that's what we do on Mondays. And hats off to Ben McCollum and Northwest Missouri State. Little Chiefs news, as it looks like they're going to sign a defensive lineman. All indications as of this recording in the morning on Monday, musing, is that the Chiefs will sign Seattle Seahawks defensive tackle, Darren Reed. They still haven't made a move for a edge rusher, but he's had as many as 10.5 sacks. He had 6.5 last year. He's somebody who can bookend. Well, bookend's probably the wrong word when you're talking about defensive tackles, but tandem with Chris Jones on the interior and take a little heat off of him. And the Chiefs have made a lot of moves so far. They've been effective moves, maybe in a couple of the areas that they most need, an edge rusher and an offensive tackle. They haven't been able to get that done yet, or maybe they won't, but they have tried to solidify in areas right near those two positions on the field, as the Kansas City Chiefs making a little bit of news as well as far as the football proceedings are concerned. Of course, the NFL always in focus. Too much focus as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, people eat it up with a spoon, and Friday's big trades in the NFL, including the San Francisco 49ers trading a whole slew of draft picks to get up to number 3 in the draft, caused a big ripple as far as NFL news was concerned. But the Chiefs making a little bit of news of their own on this particular Monday. Let's talk a little Royals coming up next and throw in a little bit of golf and maybe another note or two as we continue with our Monday Musings Danny Sports Wrap, brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors, offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from RecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident. From David Cowan, visit RecExpert.com and learn more.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days, as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the pure gold oil. And recently, I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, and the Kansas City Royals play their final spring game today, and hasn't it been fun so far for Royals fans who've been paying close attention to spring training ball? They've won 15 of their 23 games. They won again yesterday. They've continued to hit and rampage the baseball, and all kinds of gaudy averages left and right. One thing of note, certainly as we have played down the stretch as far as spring training for the Kansas City Royals is concerned, is that Whit Merrifield has been playing second base, or at least starting at second base, just about every single day. And so the structure of the opening day lineup appears to be a little bit different than what we were going to see at the start. It looks like Hanser Alberto will be a player who will at least platoon or play some second base or play some third base. Hunter Dozier might be headed out to right field. Kyle Isbell might be playing some right field. He continues to hit. Isbell's hitting .341 on the spring. And the Royals, who came into the spring seemingly with a very much set lineup where he would have Mondesi at short and Nicky Lopez at second, and Merrifield was going to spend most of his time in right field, and Hunter Dozier was going to spend most of his time at third base. Well, it doesn't appear that that's going to be the case at all. Royals have their four-man rotation set. They don't need a fifth starter for a while, so they'll be able to carry an extra reliever or an extra position player, and that's still to be decided. Right now it looks like they'll carry 9 relief pitchers. That's the way things go in this particular setting of Major League Baseball these days. You can't have too many relief pitchers, and those relief pitchers have thrown well. Greg Holland gave up his first runs of the spring on Saturday. Wade Davis hasn't given up anything, so those two familiar veterans will sort of remind people, along with Danny Duffy in the starting rotation, of the championship days of the Kansas City Royals. I think there's a little bit of excitement around the Royals, and why not? If they have a couple of... This is always the time of year where you say this thing. You say this thing, that if some of the questions, say there's 5 big questions, and the Royals can get 3 or 4 of those answered yes, then maybe they can be a team that's actually in a playoff race. They're not necessarily a favorite, but staying around 500, maybe a little bit over, because they do have a lineup that looks like it could be dangerous. They do have a rotation that looks like it could be viable. They do have a bullpen that looks like it could be effective. But we've said some of those things ever since 2016 in their last decent season, and it has gone to hell in a handbasket since then, and many of the questions have been answered no. And Adalberto Mondesi has gotten hurt, and Adalberto Mondesi has been ineffective, and the relief pitching hasn't been as good as might have been thought, and Dayton Moore's seemingly Midas touch as far as rehabilitating relievers hasn't always worked, and certain guys haven't hit, and other guys haven't stepped forward, and the minor league position players haven't been so great. But those are not the glass half full or half empty things that you think about at this time of year. You think about opening day and the crack of the bat, and a Thursday and April 1st where everybody's going to basically play on opening day, and it's going to be a true opening day, not a soft opening day where some people play on Sunday. So baseball's got a lot of questions. They have a lot of challenges, certainly, and we will have the situation with the extra innings where a runner starts at second base. I'm not the biggest fan of that rule, but it does create a situation where you don't spend 5, 6, 7 extra innings, and teams don't like that because it wrecks their pitching staff. And I'm not really someone who wants to have a universal DH, and we won't have that this year, but many, many indications are that is going to happen eventually. It looks like baseball indeed is headed on track to expand in the near future to 32 teams, and when that happens, it seems like they're going to make some of the rule changes that we've talked about. It seems like we're on track for perhaps labor peace, although I don't know if it's labor peace. It's more of a labor truce as far as baseball is concerned. But on Thursday, it will be good to have baseball back, and it will also be good to have that relentless drumbeat of daily baseball. That's what is one of the most fun and enjoyable things about baseball, is the fact that it is played every day, and with precious few days off, and you just have something to pay attention to and check out the box score and talk about today's game after last night's game plays out. that is one of the joys of baseball, and fans are going to be able to return some at the start, and maybe by midsummer we'll be talking about capacity crowds and things like that in somewhere besides Texas as the Royals get set to play on Thursday and opening up their season with, I think, a goodly dose of excitement around and some changes and some intrigue as far as lineup structure is concerned that will be fun to follow when the Royals get it started. There was a big golf tournament over the weekend, the Match Play Championship. It's one of the WGC events, 4 of them of the year. Big field, 64 of the top 69 players in the world were playing in it. And I do love watching match play. There are 2 things I like watching besides regular stroke play a lot in golf. One's mano-a-mano match play, and the other one is alternate shot match play in team events. I just really love watching that format. But I will say this about the World Match Play Championships, and you see the reason why match play isn't played more, because the television product can be so compromised. It was a very exciting weekend of golf. There was a walk-off hole-in-one by Sergio Garcia. There was another hole-in-one by Tommy Fleetwood. A lot of exciting matches. But the vagaries of losing stars was played out in this tournament again. Jon Rahm was the only single-digit seed in the last 16, and that's despite the fact that they have switched to a situation where there's not knockout play right from the start. They have pool play, so you get to play 3 matches no matter what. That's supposed to mitigate the fact that you can have one crazy upset and you lose your stars, but still, even with that, you see how deep golf is, how difficult it is to win, and in the end, Billy Horschel, who was seeded in the 30s heading into this tournament, maybe in the 20s, he ends up winning it. But the other part I really noticed when I watched the Match Play Championship, I love the first few days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are cool with the pool play. Not as dramatic as it used to be with the knockout play, but Saturday is just an absolute... Friday and Saturday, or Saturday is just a fantastic day of golf. You have the round of 16, and then you have the round of 8, and those I love because there's a lot of golf going on. But then you get to Sunday, and there's not enough matches, and you have to pay too much attention unless you have a superb rooting interest in a match. If you're watching that entire match and you don't get to switch to other shots, it's just not nearly as compelling. One thing is you can watch it pretty fast if you DVR it, I'll say that. But when you have 8 matches going on, or at least 4 matches going on, I find that really, really great television. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that tournament. But I will say, you get to Sunday, it's almost an anticlimax because nobody really cares about the consolation match. So you're paying almost complete attention to 2 golfers, and there's a lot of dead time. And while the announcing crew does a great job, and I love Paul Azinger as an analyst, you do have a lot of downtime and fast-forward time as far as that's concerned. It's much more fun when you can bop from one shot to one match back and forth, and I do, in the end, find that the final is a little bit of a letdown. Certainly the players get a little fatigued. Yesterday, Billy Horschel won a big tournament. Now, the conditions were difficult without making a birdie putt all day. He made 1 birdie in the championship match while winning, and it was a chip-in. And both players are a little bit ragged and admitted it so, but great tournament, love it, but I do understand why it's much better as sort of a one-off or a two-off, because I find the first few days are far more exciting than the conclusion of the tournament, which is very unusual. But Billy Horschel is cashing a big check today and hoisting a very important trophy, and I'm sure he will not have any second thoughts about that. But fun as a golf fan, but with a little bit of caveat as well. That'll do it for this week's Monday Musings. We hope you enjoyed it. We, of course, throughout the week do all kinds of different things at various platforms, including this one, DannyClinkscale.com, and all the places you access my podcasts that are free, and, of course, the paid site, Patreon.com, with some exclusive content as well. Check that out also, and we will be back at you, well, just about every day. And stay tuned for some other fun things that are coming up. We got some baseball podcasts that will be of interest to you, so stay tuned. Always something cooking at DannyClinkscale.com, the Reasonably Irreverent Podcast, Patreon.com/DannyClinkscale, and even more.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Dillon's Heating and Cooling, treating you like family with expert and affordable HVAC services.